Hello, I'm doing well, and today I went on, well, not today, but recently, before I got sick, I went on a little jaunt down by the bay and I took some photos. I went to see USS Pampanito. I also saw one of the Liberty ships, but I didn't stop and take a closer look just because of timing. And later on, I went on to the evening tour of the USS Hornet, one of their mystery tours. So we're gonna talk about that in a little bit. But for now, we have this nice little photo of this archway and Alcatraz Island behind it. It was on the walk up to Pampanino from where we parked at. And then we have USS Jeremiah O'Brien, I believe was the Liberty ship's name. This is along the same waterfront as Pampanito. Here she is. There's a little kind of display area that's a building down the walkway from her. You can go see that, and that's where you get tickets at. Explains a lot about the museum ship and history of submarines, and talks about Liberty ships, and talks about the sinking of USS Houston too, and also had to do with Battle of Cape Matapan, which was a bit of an odd shout, but okay, we'll take it. We talked about this during Formidable's Worship Wednesday. So there she is right there, along with, Warspite, Barham. It was because Perth got sunk during the time Houston was. And here's a scale model they have of a Liberty ship, not the same one as out there, but it's Patrick Henry. The defensive armament, got the lifeboats, other boats. Yeah, very cool little museum. Learn about the Liberty ships and their construction, their diagram of how they're built and how fast they built them. So they're average like one a month, you know, per dock spot. Obviously, they're building more than one a month, and the fastest they got was a little over 3 days, like 3 days, 16 hours, and a handful of minutes. Outside, they had a memorial and they had a torpedo sitting out there. So I got the tickets. We're going up to get onto her. You can see it's a bit cloudy. Weather was a bit rough, so she was rolling a bit. There is an audio tour you can take. However, they've upgraded to the 21st century, and so you have to do it with your phone. However, there's a slight issue you may run into. Pampanito is a giant metal tube that acts as a Faraday cage. So after a little bit, we couldn't get the tour to work. Not that we were kind of guessing based off the science stuff, so you can still learn a bit from the science. Just be aware that maybe the audio tour might not work. So yeah, it's one of those things when they upgrade to the modern era that they didn't seem to account for. She is, you can see San Francisco behind her. Another view walking around. One of her guns. There's another gun behind her. There's a photo of her back there. There's a little bit of a different gun layout than she has. You see her. So this is when you first go down to the torpedo room. This is the aft torpedo section. The bit cramped. There you go. And so four back here. Pampanito is a Palau class, the successor to the Gato class. So she has four torpedo tubes aft, and then six in the front. Here's the toilet. You're looking at that. Not the best conditions to squeeze one out, but for context, here are the portholes you go through the various sections. They are not large at all. I'm at 5'12", also not 6 foot, and you see it is. I was ducking and squeezing through. And gets a little worrying because the submarine is gently rocking back and forth because of the weather. And so you got to be careful walking through, especially if you're taller, because you'll be squeezing through and then you kind of get flung to the side of it, so you don't want to hit your head. Found this little log office. You see, okay, it's a door, decent sized door, and you see, oh, it's just a bench, a tiny bench. So not a lot of space as you'd expect on a submarine. Here are the engines. least one side of the engine room. Use a throw for getting her to go. So run, start, stop. There it is. Bunk space. I'm not going to show too much off in here. There's photos I omitted just because there's not a lot to see. And I want you guys to go visit her, if at all possible. Yep, so bunk space, very crowded. There's officer quarters further up, but it's just as we're walking along. Yeah, not a whole lot of space, and you don't want to be falling off in the middle of the night. We have a mess area, board, and various other games they can play while they're on standby, eating. Very small kitchen. No sign of ice cream machine on this one. Sure, they could use the blender at a certain RPM, but it's a submarine, so they didn't have a lot of room for the ice cream machine. This was in a room with a bunch of valves for controlling the ballast. Raise her up, sink her down. And the room is all red. It's really cool looking. And there's a map you can see of Pampanito's course she took during her service life. Starting off in Pearl Harbor, during her Pacific. She might have been doing stuff over in the Atlantic. I'm not sure. Hanging out. Go down to Australia, back up. So a lot of area, a lot of action down in the South China Sea, and north of the Borneo. Just one little tour off Japan, probably towards the end. Officers' quarter, so it's by themselves, but not a lot of space. Here's the mechanical parts of a torpedo. This is the aft end. Propellers at along. Ones have the warhead attached. Here's all the explosive with the cutaway. Both charges. One back. Even more explosive charges. And going back to the mechanical section. It's where they load torpedoes on. Goes on these rails. These will fold up and slide over. This one's not lined up with that torpedo tube in front of it, but it can slide over. Looking down into there, you can see plenty of space to seal those things in there. And we go back up top, look around. Pretty cool. Very, very nice little tour. Doesn't take very long, just because size and there's only one level open, which makes sense because everything below it's a duplicate and probably even more cramped. So you don't want people getting hurt, falling, slipping. And it was wet enough, so you're kind of swaying back and forth. Yeah, definitely check it out if you're in the San Francisco area. It is on Pier 42, I believe. And look out and see Alcatraz. It's near the Alcatraz ferry. So looking along side of her, overview of her gun. Never looked down the barrel, but you can see. And yeah, so that was Pampanito. Nice little tour. There she is. She has her guns on here. It's a little bit different layout. But is where he came in, down this way. You walk along, the diesel engine rooms, the cruise mess, and the berthing, and into the batteries, that stuff is down below. But and I skipped the radio room. Saw a little bit of the control room. Officers' quarters, some photo of that. The wardroom. Probably the nicest spot is in officers' quarters and wardroom. And then forward torpedo room. Yeah, it's a little bit different with the gun layout, but you forgive him for that. Because the gun is aft on a Pampanito. See, right there. When on the photo, it shows it's in front of the tower. And we didn't get to go in the conning tower or anything like that. So, yeah, it was a nice little tour. Just took a couple minutes. You probably take a little longer than I did, but just checking it out. And here's all the internal patrol stuff. Submarines in the U.S. Navy, when they go missing, they considered on internal patrol. So there's all the ones you can see. Sea lion, wahoo, albacore should be on here somewhere. There's growler and albacore next to each other. There you go. Hang, both sharks, shark one and shark two. Yeah, so nice little memorial, nice little museum. Also, there was a like kind of a pinball, kind of old school arcade going on. They had stuff like, "Ooh, look at the old timey movies." Ooh, we didn't do one of those, but instead we did something a little more interesting. This one's called Guillotine. I'll turn the sound on. I don't know if I'll pick up. It's just so fast. It's so brutal. It just thunk. And then there's a bunch of these like diorama things. Really cool. And if you put two quarters in, it plays it. And so there's one of a fair, and there's one more of a farmer's fair. This is really cool. Nice little snapshot of history of entertainment. Free my boy. Let him go. He didn't do nothing wrong. Yeah, very cool little thing. It's right next to Pampanito, so as you're walking along, you'll see it. We came into the side entrance. You might have to go around the corner, get in, but yes, very, very cool little thing. And the amount of just detail on this, because this guy, he cocks and he shoots, and a bunch of little things move around. So yeah, very cool little museum. Check out while you're down there. And then the main event for the evening, the mystery tour of the Hornet. And I really wish these lights were not on, get a better view, but it is what it is. Unfortunately, we did not get to go up on the flight deck during the tour. It wasn't raining too hard at the time, but I got out of the car without my jacket on to take this photo. I'm like, oh crap, for my jacket. So I'm getting very soaked at this time. Here's walking up, you can see the lights. You can see they've illuminated the bridge with some red lights, make it spooky. I believe this plane is newer than the last time I was there. I didn't remember seeing it last time, but there you go. Just looking at the intake going all the way through. And naval operations going throughout. Had this on one of the next to where we started the tour at. Had us group up. Had us. We went with an older gentleman who served on a number of aircraft carriers and worked in the museum, and then been doing the mystery tours for a couple years, and then a paranormal investigator. We've been doing this since like 2018. And this is down. So this is well into the tour, just because a lot of the tour was I kind of wish they focused more on the mystery stuff because it seemed like okay, this is just a docketed tour, but at night, and they turn all the lights off. You do the tour, you start the tour, go downstairs, and there's different areas for different tour groups, so you don't interact. We went to like a small, like I forgot what he called it, but it was like a commissary for like sweet stuff, and so I did see the ice cream machine in there. I didn't get a photo because it was pitch black. I had my phone light on, and I was like, there it is, I see it. And so yeah, it was just wish it was more of the mystery stuff than the I really appreciate the history stuff, of course, but it's a mystery tour. You want to see a little bit of something. But they described it like fishing, and I'm thinking, well, fishing you're at least engaged in, and this was not so much. A lot of sit in the dark. But it was a got to see new areas of the museum that I hadn't seen before, so at least for that part's really good. Got to go in that area. I hadn't been in that commissary with the sweet stuff and the ice cream machine before. That was two levels down from the hangar deck. Then we went up to the tried to go into the infirmary, but they had it closed up. Someone locked the door on us and forgot to unlock it. That was unfortunate. And then we went to the chapel, and yeah, so then we went upstairs back to the hangar deck. I went to, I think it was CO2 as they called it, right below the flight deck, but above the hangar deck, kind of like a mezzanine area for a building. So it's interesting to see new areas, and that area was definitely has not been restored much. A lot of paint falling off the walls, a lot of just stuff laying around. And there's some areas that are being repainted, some areas being redone, but a very work in progress that area. So I understand why that area was not available to the general public. This was in this is in the high tech or entering the high tech secret area. Like commands in. This is not the tower. This is not the island. So it's a different area. But there's a cool display of what a typical task group would be. You'd see her sorting around Hornet. And you got Indianapolis, San Jacinto, Massachusetts, San Juan, New Jersey, St. Louis, Indiana, Baltimore. Who else? Not Missouri yet. Um, there were some other ships that are in Azure Lane. That one's all crossed out. Vincennes. Murray might be in there. Well, we don't have Indiana either, but yeah, mostly Baltimore, St. Louis. A couple familiar faces there. Another view of it, pretty cool. And yeah, so did I encounter any ghostly spirits? No, I didn't. I was not convinced by what I saw. However, I did get very sick afterwards, so perhaps maybe there was. But definitely worth checking out, even if just for like a docketed tour at night. That was pretty cool. Got to go to new areas that I haven't seen before. It's always nice. Makes the trip down there worth it. And it's a nice view. The storm cleared up for the most part after this. Things you can see the city a bit better. Before it was very cloudy. Driving over the bridge, we couldn't see the Hornet at all, just because the amount of clouds. Yeah, it's a different photo, but yeah, not the most energetic I know, but I'm just getting over being sick. This is the first thing I've recorded. Won't be the first thing you see. But thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Hope you go check out Pampanito and Jeremiah O'Brien. No, I didn't cover her very much. And go check out the Hornet Evening Tour. If you have, let me know if you've seen anything suspicious or any ghostly activity, paranormal activity. Or if you do go see her, let me know. So, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.